Welcome to State Scoop TV. I'm Jake Williams. Our guest today is Illinois CIO Hardik Bhatt. Hardik, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, Jake.
So Hardik, I mean, you're doing amazing things in Illinois, and I think it's pretty clear that you guys have made some outstanding progress over the past year. But what are some of your top priorities for the year ahead, and what challenges do you see with those?
Jake, our priorities are always aligned with the governor's priorities. The governor's priorities are to make Illinois compassionate and globally competitive, and his priorities are aligned with what citizens and business of Illinois want from their government. So we are looking at how technology plays a role in making Illinois competitive and compassionate. So when I started back in April of last year, we had charted a very clear path. Our oldest system dated back to 1974. We wanted to do a journey up to 2019. So 45-year journey, but have to do it in 4 years. And we had those 3 steps we had defined, which is improving the business of technology, improving the business of state using technology, and then identifying areas where we can leapfrog to become one of the smarter states. So we are now really glad to say that we have made significant progress in the last 18 months. I'd say we have covered about 20 years of those 45-year journey we wanted to make in the last 18 months. We still have 25 more years to go in the next 27 months before the end of the term of the first term of the administration. So in the improving the business of technology, apart from getting the technology management more agile, getting more business case driven work done, we also have a huge focus on cybersecurity, and we didn't have enterprise focus at the state of Illinois on cybersecurity. We have a great CISO in place. It's been a year now. Kirk Lahnbaum is a CISO. He grew up in public safety and then technology, and now he's really driving our cybersecurity efforts. And we have a tremendous support from not just the governor and the governor's leadership, but also the entire agency directors. So basically, cybersecurity is now seen as a business issue, not a technology issue. And the biggest coup of all was the creation of the Department of Innovation and Technology, which brought close to $1 billion of spend in a more coordinated manner and 1,700 employees. So now we look at this as a $1 billion startup, and we are looking at how do we set this startup in the right way. So that is the step 1, and we have made significant progress in that. The step 2 is improving the business of technology improving the business of state using technology. And in that, I talked about one of our topmost priorities was getting an ERP system in place. As a state of Illinois, one of the big 5 states, we don't have an ERP system, which is changing. So within less than a month, our first instance of ERP system for 4 agencies on SAP Financials will go live. And then we'll bring cluster after cluster other agencies onto that. And then we'll also kickstart the HR deployment for the ERP system. But other than that, improving the business of the state also means we need to improve the efficiency of our workforce, and we also need to make it easier for our customers to get service from the state of Illinois. So we are focusing heavily for those 2 on analytics. So I mentioned earlier this year in the month of May, we brought 13 agencies to sign an enterprise MOU to share data. And this was, again, we learned it from Indiana, thanks to Paul Balsell and Divan Neely to teach us that. We learned that and we applied that. And now we are focusing on creating those person 360 views as well as working on predictive analytics through our internal team as well as partnerships with the universities. We also have a huge focus on mobility. So in July, we rolled out 4 apps which are now available on NASCIO app catalog. And then we now have the infrastructure and framework ready for, actually we are going to start rolling out an app a month starting this month. So we have that whole thing worked out. So that's basically the business of state using technology. And the third one is to identify areas where we can leapfrog. So I've spent a big portion of my career in smart city, smart state area. So as I said, identified that as an area where Illinois can leapfrog. We published a study through IDC in February around what is smart state. We hosted an event with 200 attendees from public sector, private sector, academic on smart state in April. And now we have an internal IoT Center of Excellence, which is actually driving the entire IoT and smart state effort for the state. And we are now recognized nationally as a thought leader in smarter state. We are also working closely with the Department of Commerce and NTIA in that space, and also working across the borders with the countries of India and Israel to kind of share best practices around smart state. So we have lots of priorities, but I would say they're all aligned to what the governor wants, the compassionate and competitive Illinois. And we are aligning everything to that. And with the amazing team that we have now built, it's just, I think we'll be able to make that 25 years journey in the next 27 months.
That's outstanding. Wow. So, I mean, what I love about you, Hardik, is that you're an incredibly passionate guy. You care a lot about what you're doing. But what aspect of all those things that you just talked about, what aspect of state IT and what aspect about your job are you most passionate about? And what really drives you to get up every morning, go to work, and make Illinois run?
It's the topmost thing is the mission. I took this job for the mission of the governor, who wanted to transform Illinois, turn around Illinois, make our services accessible to our customers, which are citizens and businesses. So, and every member of my team is basically working for that purpose. I mean, everybody of the 1,700 people that have come to state to work for technology have come to state for a purpose of public service, and they are really driving this whole thing for the state. So, mission to me is the most important thing that wakes me up in the morning and says, Hardik, let's go and move an inch forward, because that's how we'll be able to make the 45-year journey. The other cool thing that has happened in Illinois, I call it a greenfield. I told you about Department of Innovation and Technology being a $1 billion startup. So the way I see this is, I'm the CEO of this $1 billion startup. I'm answerable to, we have created what we call the board of directors. So some of the agency directors, the governor's office, budget office, are the ones who are providing guidance and oversight to the Department of Innovation and Technology. And we are keeping an eye on the taxpayers' return on investment. So basically, we are looking at this as, how do we turn this $1 billion startup? It's a greenfield that we are putting the right context and right kind of constructs in place to run that in the best way possible. And the third thing, Jake, is we are also looking at the economic and social impact of technology onto Illinois. So, for example, if we take the top two 1 and 2 steps, improving the business of IT and improving the business of the state. If I correlate that to business world, it's basically, how do we manage the bottom line? How do we improve the economic impact of technology, and how the state works and how the state provides services? And then the third step, which is becoming smarter, is all about economic growth. It's all about efficiency. It's all about generating revenue. And that's, how do we increase the top line revenue? So we are looking at the economic impact of technology on the state of Illinois as well. So those are kind of things that, to me, drives me to keep doing new things and try and be successful in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, what does innovation really mean in Illinois? And I mean, how are you guys, I mean, you've alluded to a lot of it, but how are you guys really, really trying to change the game?
So innovation has multiple definitions. Obviously for us, how do we apply the industry innovations to provide better services, right? To become more efficient. So in that, we have one of the biggest beliefs that we have in Illinois is, innovation does not come from a corner, from a team. Innovation comes from the edges. So we always depend and drive our agency partners to look at what are the pain points that you have in running your business, and how can technology, or how can you improve that? And then we'll come and work with you technologically. How do we solve those problems? In Illinois, we have a program called Rapid Results, which is run by the deputy governor as well as with the central management services. And what they do is basically they look at the end-to-end processes and look at how can we improve these end-to-end processes with a view towards providing better services to our customers. And then we partner with them to provide technological solutions to them. We also have an internal innovation awards process. So when we submit our nomination to NASCIO for innovation awards, we actually have our internal process that we run it through and then submit that to NASCIO. And then finally, we have this whole word innovation in our Department of Innovation and Technology, which is not just by accident. We are in the middle of designing an innovation center, which will be able to bring cross-sectoral kind of parties together to work for innovation. And lastly, how we are propelling that is by building a borderless culture. So we are breaking all the silos. We have working groups, we have centers of excellence, we have innovation incubators in various verticals that we are trying to focus on providing service in a much more innovative way possible.
And so where do you think your state really leads on innovation? What do you think is your strongest innovative point?
I think the entire goal of becoming a smart state, that'll help us focus a lot more on the innovation that are coming out from the Internet of Things business practice, so whether it is sensors, mobility, analytics, that we can apply to that. The creation of the borderless culture, also bringing the private sector in as to advise us, as well as the academic sector to advise us and drive kind of innovation in that. This whole managing the multi-stakeholder and using and harnessing their power for improved delivery of services. I think that's where I believe Illinois has a huge differentiating factor. And then we are always ready to learn. I think that's another thing, whether it is Ohio, whether it is Indiana, whether it is an innovation center built by our private sector partners, we're always eager to learn and apply that to us so that we can accelerate. I think acceleration at the speed that we are going is the biggest differentiating factor for applying innovation.
Fascinating. And last question, I mean, what aspects of your job, what aspects of what you're working on in Illinois, what of those are keeping you awake at night? What's stressing you out? What are some of those big challenges that you really need to overcome?
The challenges are big. I mean, I think the biggest challenge, Jake, is citizen expectations are always going up, right? With all of the innovations that are happening in the industry, citizen expectations are going up, and there is never enough resources to fulfill those expectations, and there's a continuing gap that keeps widening because the pace of the technology change is increasing, but pace of regulatory changes are not keeping pace with that. So I think resource constraint is something that always on the top of my mind at least, and we are trying to figure out how do we, with the amount of resources that we have, provide the best services to our citizens and businesses. I will not say that cybersecurity is not an issue that keeps me up. Obviously, cybersecurity is about processes, awareness, and control that you build in your systems and in your workforce. And we are working on that very aggressively, obviously under Kirk Lonbaum's leadership, our CISO. And then the third thing is just the average age of workforce is going high. And we know that some of the great resources that have built these systems for technology, for the state of Illinois, can retire, will retire eventually when the time is right. We have a great workforce. I mean, the state of Illinois, in every agency you go, I'm really happy with the workforce that we have. It's just that the factor that is that when they retire, what happens? Because it is very hard to attract and bring new talent into the state, which has been changing in the last couple of years, but not at the pace that the retirement will. So we need to worry about those. So I think those three, but I'm confident that we'll be able to continue making progress. As I said, we have made 20 years of journey in 18 months. We are looking at the next 25 years journey in the next 27 months. And I'm confident that the team that the governor has built, and with his vision and leadership, we'll be able to achieve that.
Well, that's outstanding. Hardik, thanks for being here today. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you very much. My pleasure, Jake.
For more about what's going on in Illinois and the new Department of Innovation and Technology, and more about Hardik Bhatt, check out statescoop.com. And for all the latest news and events in the state and local information technology community as well. I'm Jake Williams. Thanks for watching.